Good morning, fifth graders. It is so wonderful to be with you guys today. Obviously, a few things. First, one, I miss you all so much. I miss spending time together. I miss learning together in the same space. Two, my heart is with you and your families and whatever you may be going through during this difficult time. Today, I'm mostly just so grateful and thankful that we get to spend time together online. Even though we don't get to meet in person, we're still going to get the opportunity to learn a lot, to continue some of the things that we were talking about before we went on this break. And I'm just so grateful to be with all of you today, and I hope that you're doing all right. With that, let's get started. We are going to warm up our bodies and our brains in a slightly different way today. I don't really know what to call this. I'm going to call it Zumba rhythm because that's the only thing I can think of. Essentially, what's going to happen is that there is going to be a rhythm written on your screen, and we are going to have to follow along to the beat of the music, and we're going to have to show it somewhere in our body as well as speaking it out loud. So here's an example. This is the beat, and we can hear the steady rhythm. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the rhythm I want you to copy. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. And then it moves on to another rhythm, which we see is ti, 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 ta, ta. We are going to see 4 different rhythms that you will copy after me. And we are going to repeat them a couple of times, and it's going to get faster and faster as we go along. You guys will catch on very quickly because it's not super complex, and these are all rhythms that we already are super familiar with. When it comes to showing the rhythm in your body, you can do it anyway. I'm going to just sort of hop in place, but you can tap your toes, you can clap it, you can move it around different parts of your body as long as you are up and you are moving about. You also must speak the rhythm at the same time, just like I did. So, let's start at the beginning. Here we go. And right now, as you can see, we have 4 bars of rest. So we're gonna wait until the green playhead gets to measure 5. 1, 2, copy after me. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ti, 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 ta, ta. Tiki, tiki, ta, tiki, tiki, ta. Ti, ti, tiki, tiki, ti, ti, tiki, tiki. Now this beat speeds up. Here's where it is now. It'll be the same 4 rhythms. 1, 2, ready, and ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ti, 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 ta, ta. Tiki, tiki, ta, tiki, tiki, ta. Ti, ti, tiki, tiki, ti, ti, tiki, tiki. We're gonna speed up again. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ti, 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 ta, ta. Tiki, tiki, ta, tiki, tiki, ta. Ti, ti, tiki, tiki, ti, ti, tiki, tiki. And one more time, let's speed it up one final time. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ti, 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 ta, ta. Tiki, tiki, ta, tiki, tiki, ta. Ti, ti, tiki, tiki, ti, ti, tiki, tiki. And you all did a great job, fantastic. We are done with our rhythm Zumba or Zumba rhythm. I don't really know what to call it. We're done with that for this week, but next week that we have class, it'll be an entirely new set of rhythms, and it will get more and more complex as we go along. Awesome job. Let's move on to our next thing. Okay, guys, so for today, we are actually going to continue the conversation that we started last time. We were beginning to talk about our synth instrument family, and I gave you two different approaches that you could use, a creative approach and a scientific approach to learn about this family of instruments. The creative approach was to go into GarageBand and to mess around with all the different instruments in the synth categories. And then to just pick one that you thought was really interesting. And I was going to have you basically do a tiny report about why you liked that sound and what you found interesting about it. The second approach was a more scientific approach where you could watch some different informational videos on YouTube or across the internet that would explain what synthesizers are, how they work, and if you wanted to talk about that in your little report, you could. Now, I wanted to give you one more resource that you could use in learning more about synth instruments. And so I'm going to turn over to my computer in just a second, and you guys can follow along with me or watch this video first and finish the video, and then you can mess around on this website all by yourself. All right, 4th and 5th graders, we are going to do a quick demonstration of this website that I want you guys to use. If you want to try a different resource, because I know that only some of us have our school iPads that we can be using. So if you have a phone or some other kind of device, you can access this website. And it's titled MIDI City, so MIDI.city. And I'm just going to pull this up. And it basically is like a simplified version of GarageBand, because up at the top, the way that I see it at least, is on my full computer screen, is we have a drum kit up at the top, and then we have an instrument sound at the bottom. And we can change the sounds of the drums or the instruments. Now, obviously, we're focused on synth sounds for today. So any of these different drum kits you can mess around with. I would... basically today can just be about experimenting with these different sounds, finding things that you like, trying to make connections between certain sounds. So you can mess around with all these different... Ooh, that's a cool sound. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, that's a sick sound. I like that. Anyway, so that's drum kit, obviously, and I was using the keyboard on my computer in order to play the sounds, but you can also click on them. Now, this is just like the creative approach in GarageBand where I had you guys exploring certain synth categories. Here, when you tap on the name of the instrument, we have 3 different synth categories: synth lead, synth pad, and synth effects. You can also just scroll through all the categories right here on the right side. So we have synth lead. They have a couple of different options here: synth pad, synth effects, and you can just mess around with all these different kinds. They have lots of cool sounds. So here's, as an example, square synth. Sounds a little bit like an old video game, like a Mario game of some kind. So maybe you could even make the connection, as an example, that square synths are really important when it comes to certain kinds of music in video games. Sawtooth. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Anyway, mess around with all these different categories, these different instruments, and then just like I want you to stay focused on making observations about them, you can also use any of these sounds when it comes to your little report that I'll be expecting about what sounds you like, what things you think sound cool, different connections that you've made, and what have you learned about synthesizers. Okay? With that, I think you guys are good to get started, so go for it. Have fun. thank you everybody for tuning into our first sort of online recorded music lesson. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and a great week. And with that, we can all say, goodbye, scholars. I'll see you next time.